Guys, here we go. Coming up here in a minute, going live on YouTube and live on Facebook and Instagram right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. So, just so you know, okay? Just so you know. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to count it down. All righty, welcome. Welcome to this Wednesday. This hump day on this Wednesday on what day is it? It's February 19th. It's amazing. I mean, we have blown into 2020 really fast. I mean, before we know it's going to be March. Baseball is full force. We're into this already. There's a lot of baseball news. It's been like that for a while with baseball. I love it. I love talking about baseball, but it's been more than I expected than other years. But with the scandal and the cheating going on and everybody and the players talking about it, man, it's a great topic, and it really talks about baseball in detail in different ways, and it keeps people talking about the game itself, the game of baseball, a ball, a bat, and a glove, right? Some topics today. We're not going to go too wide range. Okay, for one, with the Astros, hit me with your best shot. There's a lot going down. Even the Astros now are fighting back. Vegas has bets, casinos, odds makers are putting up bets of how many times the Astro players are going to get hit by a pitch in 2020 season. We'll give you those numbers and a story about that. We'll go into detail about that. More players are angered and speaking out. This is not going to end. It's going to continue. And the Commissioner's Office of Baseball just has to get used to it. This is great theater. It's great theater. It is a story. It's informative, and it's very entertaining. I love the big three. I love it. But this is a story that's going to be following baseball to the very end of the season. And maybe it dissolves away. But the stigmatism on the Astros organization will remain. Tom Brady, his dilemma, Patriots or not, or the Patriots' dilemma. They have until March to sign him before they have to spend more money after this deadline. Free agency is coming up. We'll talk about big NFL player names that are out there with potential trades and free agency. Guys being not released or, well, basically, yes. Free to sign with somebody else. Names that are potential releases that are big players, big names, teams. So if you're a team looking to dabble into free agency, this could be a very active one prior to the NFL draft. This is going to get really interesting for the NFL in March when that deadline hits and everybody's free and the trade side happening. But there's one more biggie out there in the NFL. Joe Burrow, the expected number one draft pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, the Heisman winner. There's a story or two. There's some, uncomfortable things going on about the potential of him not playing for the Bengals. We talked about this yesterday, and we're going to continue it today with more news. And then more news about the NFL and more news about Major League Baseball. Let's bring everybody in and say hi and hello and love you all to Jose, to Juan, to Joe, to Jacqueline. Good morning, Jacqueline. Yes, and Dawn is out there. Jessica Staples in the house and Mary in the house. Love you guys. This is a Wednesday. I hope you had a good time yesterday, but we're halfway through this. Rosie in the house. Good morning, Rosie. How are you? Hope everything is getting better. Okay, let's move it along. Last season, teams were hit by a pitch in baseball, like batters getting hit by the pitcher, the ball hitting the batter. I mean, do I got to break it down any worse than that? 66 times. Okay? teams were hit. Overall, each team, on an average, were being hit by a pitch 66 times during 162 games. So, with that number being in place, with all these statistical numbers out there, the Astros last year were hit 66 times, just like the average. So, what happens in 2020? What happens? Okay, Nick Bogdanovich, director of the trading for William Hill U.S. Sportsbook, said he and his staff looked at how many times the Astros batters were hit by a pitch over the last 3 seasons and from the league last year overall. Just trying to crunch some numbers. Now remember, baseball players around the league are furious, angered, upset about the cheating, and know they've been gypped, ripped, and cheated out on opportunities for success, up and down, financially, everything. Players are speaking out with revenge, vengeance, pitchers, batters, everybody. This is the drama. This is the story of 2020 right now for baseball. Good or bad, it's got my attention, it's got your attention. But here's the thing about this Astros team. In 2008, the Cleveland Indian batters were hit 103 times. That was the most in the modern day era of baseball, 103. The average is 66. The odds makers said the Astros are projected to get hit 101 to 110 times, which means they would break the modern day record because people are pissed off and pitchers are going to probably start throwing at them. Okay? The Astros getting hit more than 150 times this season is at the odds maker 200 to 1. So you can make a bet for $200 to $1 that they'll get hit 150 times. The average is 66. Now, for the highest odds, or meaning is 9 to 2, meaning 101, 110 times they're going to get hit. You take the bet for 9 to 2. They are projecting that the Astros are going to get hit more than the average, well above the average, and breaking potentially the record in modern era of baseball. My feeling, it could go higher. It could go higher. But baseball has to step in to slow it down and find ways. But you can't be suspending everybody. You can't be destroying the game and the season that way for something baseball, screwed up by not taking care of it. The reason being, again, is that baseball did not punish the players on the Astros. Now the players around the league are going to punish them themselves through many ways. And one of them, you're going to get hit by the pitch. What do you want? You want it in the fanny? What do you want? In the back? Don't go to the head. We don't want to go above the, but you're going to get hit. And but the Astros, the way they've been treating it, the Astros, the players themselves, has been really startling to me. The reason being is they are using this as if you're wrong and we're right, and we didn't do anything. They're turning this around into a mental state of mind of us against all of them to motivate them to succeed. Let's see if they succeed without the cheating. But they're trying to use it for their advantage, because the way the Astro players are speaking and supporting each other and treating it that way, so they're going in with more of an edge too now, proving themselves. They're going to be pissed off too when they get hit. But they've lost so much respect. There's no way to get that back unless you can do it cleanly for a number of years with success, and then maybe it's a time in your life, the time in baseball that was bad, but these players were able to prove it long term that they can still play the game without cheating and succeed. That's the only way they can pull it off. But a lot of people don't believe it's possible because if you know what pitch is coming, it's so much easier to hit the ball. So much easier. A lot of players are speaking out too. So odds makers, again, Vegas, all over the bookkeepers, everywhere, the bookmakers of this betting line feel that this can actually go even higher. And like I said, I think it's going to go well over 100. The odds makers are putting the over and under on the Astros getting hit by pitch at 83 and a half pitches. 83 and a half times they're going to get hit by a pitch. That's the average. I'm going to take the over on that. I'm going to take the over. We're just talking less than 20 times of the baseball average. I believe it's going to go way over. I may have to make a bet. I may have to make a bet. You know, but here's the crazy thing. Everybody gets hit in baseball at one point, it seems like, in their career. Even at Little League. If the average is 66, is Houston and Major League Baseball going to overreact? Like, why are you hitting out batters? You know, and I know why you're doing it, but hey, the average is 66. You can't argue that. Now, when we start going over the top and it starts happening some more, then baseball now has to think about what has happened and how to deal with it. Intentionally hitting somebody is against the rules, and then the guy takes first base. You're not supposed to get suspended or fined for that. If baseball wants to fine and suspend a player for throwing out a batter, then they're rewriting the record books and unethically doing something wrong there too. And if you're going to start warning things, baseball needs to look back in the mirror and go, why did this happen? Well, it's because you guys screwed up. You should have punished the players. You should have punished them. Everybody knows that they cheated, but you're trying to, whatever reason, you're covering it. But 83 times is the over and under. Would you take that bet as a fan, or would you take the over or the under? I'm going over. I believe it's going to go over 100. If it doesn't, that means baseball stepped in and really tried to strangle this, which I don't think is fair. Okay. Now, Dusty Baker, the new manager of the Astros, publicly speaking out about the intentional beaning of their ball players, his ball players. Doesn't like it. But, you know, he took the job. He knows what's going to happen. So, you know, you're getting paid the big bucks to deal with this, Dusty Baker. So don't be crying and whining. You took the job. You took the money. You knew the scenario. Don't be crying. Don't be crying. Okay? Baker says, I'm depending on the league to try to stop and put a stop to this seemingly premeditated retaliation. Premeditated retaliation. Premeditated cheating of a game of baseball. How about that, Dusty? I know you're trying to spin it, man, but it's just going to go round and round, and it's coming right back. It's not going to happen, buddy. But I know you're trying to work the front office of Major League Baseball, the commissioner's office. But premeditated means also you premeditated to cheat. And the players that you're managing now orchestrated it. Now it's time to pay. And baseball players around the league are ready. They're not happy. They lost respect. And even the body language and the communication on the field, I just wonder how the players are going to handle it. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if somebody starts calling him a cheater or calling players cheaters on the field. Having nicknames, trash talking. Fans are definitely going to let them have it. I don't think it's ever going to end with the fans. Every time they step into the batter's box, they're getting it. I mean, during warm-ups, they're getting it. Coming off the bus into the stadium, they're getting it. Fans are not going to let go of this. It's fun for the fans. Gives them a reason to be a fan, but they're also motivated by something that bothers them. Again, The old saying, you ain't cheating unless you ain't winning unless you're cheating, is wrong. It's still not right, and it's still against the rules of baseball. Okay? So the only thing that we have to worry about is nobody getting hurt in a way of a ball to the head, and where it can dangerously take a life or paralyze or something really bad. I expect fights. I am expecting a brawl or two. I have no doubt. I'm expecting a hard slide by one of the Astro players, and the guy who tags them at second or third or first or the catcher, they're not going to like it. And they're going to take it out. And they're going to start probably getting into it a little bit. These are the things that I'm not like. I'm excited because it's entertaining, but this is what it is, folks. This is what it is. Baseball's going to have a little bit more physicality involved. It's going to go a little WWE. It's going to go a little UFC. It's going to go a little target practicing, It's going there. It's gone there already. I mean, look for spring training. Do they start in spring training? Or they just wait until, or do they go after it in spring training where it doesn't hurt your team? Like, all right, you're at first base. I beamed your ass. But guess what? It's spring training. And by the time you start, man, you're going to have a bunch of bruises on your body. Teams may just go after them right away in spring training. The commissioner, Ron Manfred, well, you screwed up. We know it. And this story may sound repetitive, but I'm just trying to give you more information. The odds makers are putting bets out there for you to make on the over-under on how many times the batters will get hit with by the Astro players getting hit. But Manfred is concerned, but it's his own fault. During spring training already, fans are batting and hitting garbage cans, trash cans inside the stadium for the Astro players to hear. The trash talking and the trash itself has begun with the fans itself. That's pretty amazing. Spring training is going to be a blast. It's going to have a lot of fun. More players speaking out. And we heard about Trevor Bauer, the pitcher, who is pissed off, and he's a loose wire, so he's probably going to throw one inside really easy. He's using the FU. That's how I'm feel about the whole operation. So get ready for Trevor Bauer. You know about Cody Bellinger losing a lot of respect, saying that Aaron Judge lost out on an MVP because of Altuve cheating. Mike Clevenger speaking out with the Indians calls the Astros those mother effers. I mean, this is not the usual baseball etiquette, respect, just making sure that it doesn't get outside the lines. Even though you're not happy, baseball players don't, and mostly the etiquette of sports and professionalism, you don't speak out against your fellow ball player, even if it's on the other team. But this is unusual, or baseball players are just coming at you, coming at the Astros. They are not holding back. This is very unusual in the history of baseball. Very unusual. If you really put it down, if you really think about it, how often have you seen so many widespread throughout Major League Baseball players speaking out with trash, foul, anger language, pissed off mentality, and pointing those fingers directly at somebody? There is a brother bond among the union of baseball players, like in a lot of professional sports. But this is not going well for the Astros. The league, the players have turned on you. And the damage is deeper than it's not going away. Mike Trout, we know about him. I mean, great player. Doesn't agree with the punishment or the non-punishment that the baseball league did not give to these players. Yankees power slugger Giancarlo Stanton says he'll hit 80 home runs if he knew how and what pitch was coming if he knew the signs like the Astro batters knew. This is this is the big difference, statistically speaking. Now, will you sign out Tuve with a contract or any of these Astro players knowing not knowing who they really are? And do you really trust? Do you really trust the fact that these guys are better or just as good with the cheating and without the cheating? Like, who are these players? In time, we will find out. Historically speaking, I believe they'll be fine in certain ways. But the moment, the classical moment, the big moment that they always seem to come up big, they always had a big hit. Where are those big hits coming from? They didn't happen. They didn't happen in certain stadiums around baseball. They had a higher batting average, higher production of hitting in their own stadium than they did on the road. Now everybody knows they're all going to be watching you. And if you have another way of cheating, I highly doubt they will try. I don't think you're succeeding as much. Matter of fact, I will not be surprised if they don't win the division in 2020. They'll be competitive. I think they'll challenge. I think they'll be there because they are talented. Like a lot of guys are talented. But I'm leaning on the fact that the Astros may not win the division. Not because of baseball schooling them. I just think that competition-wise, without the benefit of cheating, where are they? Where are they? The New York Mets, they hired a manager that was all part of it and orchestrated it in Carlos Beltran. He was part of the Astros, all that cheating stuff. They fired him once they found out the truth. The Mets players are recalling a time in 2017. But just remember, this is 2017, 2018, and we all believe more and more that it was also last season, 2019. But Michael Conforto, the Mets good hitting lefty hitter, remembers a 3-game series in Houston where the Astros scored 24 runs in 3 games, which is a lot in baseball. And at that point, he said, Conforto, we just all assumed they were all superstars. And that's how I felt. Like, this is a great team. Like, man. But now we know the rest of the story. And that's how a lot of people feel. They were super at cheating. It turns out to be. All right. Comments coming in. More people. I got football now coming up. You want to talk football? All right, here we go. All right, Rosie. David and out. Casper in the house. David. Good morning, David Robles. Andy McClure. Roger Braun. Glenn Anderson. Brendan Grady. Yankee Lopez. Lorraine in the house. Deidre. Denise. Stephen. Victoria. Jessica in the house. Hey, Jessica. What's up with the hair? Oh, you want me to take it down for you? Yeah, it's been coming down, Jessica, for over a year now. Just made a commitment to just let it go and let it see and see where it goes, Jessica. And it's been literally just a little over a year since I've have not cut the hair, and still don't know how to deal with it, but it's starting to feel its way out. But one day I'll just drop the hat and let it go. All right. But the hair gets in the way. I mean, I got to read things. I'm looking at stuff on my screens and stuff. And it's so I wear the hat to kind of look at the screens and be able to talk to you. All right. Anna, Sean, Jaime, Bradley, Yotis, Dale Corder. Dale, I'm going to get you a note of dress code. What? You don't like the t-shirt? Dale. Dale, you should be happy. Your boy Drew Brees is back in the house, Drew. Alrighty, he's back with the Saints. Barbie in the hey, Barbie, how you doing? Amanda, welcome back, Amanda. Love the show. Thank you. Thank you. All right, check out Amanda. She is more than just a massage therapist. She's a medical healer. Check her out. All right, let it go. Isn't that a song? I'm having to go watch. Let me go watch Frozen and Frozen 2, and then I'll let it go. Right? It's tempt. I did a couple of times. Okay, I did a couple of times. But man, it's amazing how hair really fascinates people sometimes. I know the ladies do. Hey, I look at hair. As a guy, I look at the women's hair. I always do. It tells me a lot about who they are. It tells me a lot about something, and it's beauty in a lot of ways too. But and they spend a lot of time on it. So not that I'm looking for the fabricated look. It's just that it. I like hair. I like how women look. I like their hair. I like long hair. You know, all that stuff. All right, football. Can we talk football? Okay. All right, Joe Burrow, the LSU national champion, Heisman Trophy winner, first round projected number one draft pick overall this upcoming 2020 draft. Man, things have gotten very, very interesting for this guy. Okay, very interesting. All right, so Joe Burrow has been advised by a former star football player, quarterback. You know, I remember him with the Atlanta Falcons, Steve Bartkowski. And I thought Steve Bartkowski was one of the great quarterbacks of the NFL in history because he played for some poor teams. You know, the Falcons weren't that good, and he elevated that team. So Bartkowski is one of my favorite all-time quarterbacks on that list. But he did say something to Joe Burrow and family and people around him. I guess in a quick meeting, he got up, met Joe Burrow, and talked about some stuff, and said to him to pull an Eli Manning and refuse to play for the Bengals. Now, is that because maybe Joe Burrow is not willing and ready to play for the Bengals? He is a Ohio boy, grew up in Ohio. This is a perfect place to be the Ohio boy playing for a team that is desperately seeking their first Super Bowl, an organization that has struggled up and down, could be the hero of a franchise and a state, and competing with the Cleveland Browns, Ohio. It's all there for him. But Steve Bartkowski, he also was a first pick overall by the Atlanta Falcons in 1975. And he remembers, and he went to Atlanta. And he struggled in Atlanta. Archie Manning, Peyton and Eli Manning's father, went to the New Orleans Saints and basically beat his career down. Archie never became the quarterback that was expected of him coming out of a great college following career. Okay? But Bartkowski says pull an Eli, where Eli Manning refused to, well, the Chargers drafted him. He didn't want to play for the Chargers. And he forced the Chargers to trade. The Chargers drafted Eli Manning. And in the wake and waiting as if the Giants would draft Phillip Rivers. Giants draft Phillip Rivers. Then the Giants and Chargers traded their draft picks. Manning to the Giants, Rivers to the Chargers. That's how it played out. That's how it went down. Bartkowski is telling Joe Burrow, if you're not wanting to go to a losing organization, if you're not willing to take a beating, and there's no guarantee that it's going to shape up, because there's a lot of history in football with number one quarterbacks never, ever getting to the elite status because of the organization that chose you struggles also to get there. But Cincinnati has gotten to 2 Super Bowls, but that was way back when, and have struggled since. Burrow has to make a decision. Is he all in with Cincinnati? Are the Bengals all in? Nobody on both sides have said, Joe Burrow, I want you in Cincinnati. We are all in. We are drafting Joe Burrow. And we haven't heard Joe Burrow said, I am excited to play for the Bengals. I'm an Ohio boy. I just cannot believe I get this opportunity. There's nobody that excited on both sides. At least they're not talking about it, but they're talking about leverage. And what is leverage? For a trade or for free agency or for signing the contract? I talked yesterday about this. This is well before the Steve Bartkowski story came out later in the day. So I was already talking about be prepared for a holdout by Joe Burrow. And the holdout could be that he gets drafted by the Bengals and then wants and demands a big price tag to be paid. Because I'm going to Cincinnati. I don't want my career to be derailed and hurt and beat up by year 3. I mean, that's how, hey, the Cardinals drafted a quarterback last year. He did okay. Got beat up a few times, but he survived it. Okay? Joe Burrow is, but there's no guarantee that the Cardinals are going to give their number 1 draft pick from a year ago success long term. Still remains to be seen. All right, Joe Burrow said this to the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and you got to read into this, okay? No, I wouldn't say that. This is what Steve Bartkowski said to this media outlet. Ohio guys, I might have offended them by telling them that if it's the Bengals, I think I'll pull an Eli Manning on that one. I said, you have got a chance to do that. That's happened. It's happened a lot. It wasn't just Eli Manning. John Elway did it. Kind of set the tone. Steve Young. You can go back to Steve Young, who was drafted by the Buccaneers, but ended up, he played in the USFL. I mean, there was a lot of quarterbacks that were, or players in other positions holding out, forcing a trade. But when it comes to quarterbacks, Elway did it. Eli Manning did it, delved into it when he was picked by the Chargers. Bartkowski's 67 years old now. He's seen a lot. He added that the Bengals are not the best organization. Taking a shot at the organization, Cincinnati Bengals. He said he knows what it's like to play for a bottom feeder team and stressed how much he got beat up during his few years with the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, he even took a shot at the Falcons, but that was back then. The Falcons just couldn't figure it out. Now the 23-year-old Burrow, Joe Burrow, highly touted, number 1 pick, supposedly going to the Bengals, hasn't definitively ruled out that he wants to go to Cincinnati. Here's Joe Burrow's recent quote to the Fort Worth Star Telegram. I do have leverage. They have their process. I have my process. We haven't even gotten to the NFL Combine yet. There's a lot of things that happen leading up to the draft and a lot of information gathered. If they select me, they select me. So it's sort of like an open end with no real closure about him going to Cincinnati. And if they select me, then we proceed forward, which I believe becomes the holdout, Joe Burrow, asking for bigger money for long-term financial protection, because he should have a career 15, maybe 20 years if he's fortunate enough as a quarterback. That's what you want from your quarterback. But young quarterbacks have been beaten up and derailed with poor teams and poor organizations. Get the money now, Joe, because you don't know if you go with the Cincinnati Bengals. But you can also elevate an organization. You can also take an organization and rise it to the top. It may take a few years. Now, John Elway was drafted by the Colts, but he also was drafted by the New York Yankees. And matter of fact, he was at Yankee spring training. If we go New York Yankees, he was at Yankee spring training. He was given a number. He was on the roster. He was there. He was playing right field. He actually looked good. And he was a very good baseball player. And it was like, listen, the Colts, I'm not going there. I'm not going to the Colts. I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to play for the great Yankees organization. I'm going to be their lifelong right fielder. They have a lot of money, and I'm a Yankee. Now, top that. Now, that's leverage. Now, Elway really probably wanted to play football. But if the Colts did not want to get rid or did not want to trade him, Elway was playing baseball until things changed. And who knows if. But see, the Colts were forced to trade him because Elway was settled in as a Yankee. Eli Manning didn't have it, doesn't have that leverage. Joe Burrow doesn't have that kind of leverage. He can request or say, hey, don't trade me. I'm not showing up. And force the issue with the Bengals. Now, the Bengals are fine because here's the thing with the Bengals. They may be able to trade out of it and get a couple of nice extra more picks and still get a quarterback like Justin Herbert or somebody else in the draft. You know, there's a lot of nice young quarterbacks. And who's to say that Burrow is, he looks like he's got this 15-year career of success under him. But the Bengals could actually say, all right, you don't want to be with us. You're doing this to us. We want out. We're going to trade out. Now look for the New England Patriots. Believe it or not, now the Patriots don't have a high first-round draft pick, from what I understand. But I see that the Patriots may try to slip in the top 10, trying to nab a quarterback because they doesn't feel comfortable in New England right now with Tom Brady. We're less than a month away for free agency to start in football. And if you haven't signed Tom Brady, you're going to pay millions of dollars against your cap, too, to keep him in New England. Now, it may be worth it, but maybe it's not. Because if you're looking to go to a different direction, if you're not willing to pay Tom Brady a 2 or 3 year contract, depending on what Tom wants, where are you, New England? They may want to slip up, jump up, trade up to get into the top 10. Is somebody willing to do that? And if Joe Burrow does not get drafted by the Bengals in the first round, number 1 pick overall, then somebody may jump up to grab Burrow and probably has to sell the house at that point. Or somebody in the top 5 can go up and go grab a defensive star, somebody that they really want and maybe not be able to get because they're at the 5 spot. I will say this right now. A team like Tampa Bay could be the one. Tampa Bay is in that top 10. Tampa Bay can say, here's our number 1, and here's our, I don't know, I would not give up 2 number 1s. It's not worth it. But they may give up a number 1, or who knows, probably a number 1. I would give up a number 1 and a second round to go get Joe Burrow. So if like team like Tampa with a lot of talent, go get a young quarterback like Burrow, oh boy, what a move Tampa would. I like that. Kind of like that kind of thought process. But there's other teams that need a quarterback in the top 10 too, that are not comfortable for what they have. But in the top 5, like the Jets and the Giants, they don't need a quarterback, right? There are teams that don't need a quarterback. The Cardinals don't need a quarterback. But I'm just like, it's crazy to say it, but would you? If you're the Arizona Cardinals, would you trade for that number one pick and go, you know what? That's Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is better than Kyler Murray. I mean, they did it a year ago and they got rid of Rosen and did the same thing. Why don't you do it again? Now you got, I think, a better quarterback. Would you argue with me that Burrow has a brighter future than Kyler Murray? Would you argue that? If you're the Arizona Cardinals, would you trade up and get that number one pick to go get Joe Burrow and trade with Cincinnati, give them your pick, and give them another pick, but you got Joe Burrow? Think about that one. Or you just sit back and go, I'll go get Justin Herbert. But you see, you have Kyler Murray. See, this is a very strange scenario for the Cardinal fans. You know, they jumped knee-jerk so fast last year with Kyler Murray, who potentially could be something really special. But I'm not looking at awards and something like that. He did fine. But the upside to me with a Burrow and a Murray, I think Burrow has a bigger upside. And when you react like the Cardinals did a year ago, and you still sucked, and you still had a struggling season, and you still were, here you are again, and you probably would be the number one draft pick team again, and you would have been able to snag. You would have had Bosa. How about this? You would have had Bosa, and now you're probably drafting Joe Burrow. Now, see, like, I mean, you're looking back and you're trying to like, oh, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But sometimes you just got to be cool. And you better hope Murray turns out to be the gem of all gems. Because you're looking at a draft right now with quarterbacks that seem to have a big upside, bigger than Kyler Murray. Bigger than Kyler Murray. You got to remember, Burrow is not a slow-footed quarterback. He's very mobile. Very mobile if you watch him enough. These quarterbacks today, all of them, the stereotype is gone. The big, tall pocket quarterback is mobile. The big, tall pocket quarterback was Ben Roethlisberger, and since then, you're seeing a lot more big Ben Roethlisberger quarterbacks popping up around the league who are good, who are great. And now we got more young rookie quarterbacks coming out of the draft. Daniel Jones, big, tall, good on his feet, takes off. He knows how to run, but knows how to throw. I'm just saying, folks, Cardinal fans, think about what if and what could have and should have. But you can't. But would you still do what you did last year and trade up and go, hey, Cincinnati, I know this is crazy. We're the Cardinals. We're a little nutty. You know, I'm general manager Steve Keim. I think I know what I'm doing, but I'm learning and still learning how to get this right. Because who are the Cardinals going to get? They're probably going to get an offensive lineman, which is needed. But they're gonna go that route, and they're gonna build out that way. They should. But my goodness, if you're sitting there and going, man, if I can get a Burrow, and if he's not happy going to Cincinnati, you know, but Justin Herbert's there, but maybe I don't have to trade out. But who's better? Like, you're sitting there as a Cardinal thinking, you know what? I could have had probably a Justin Herbert as my quarterback this year if I just was patient enough. Yeah, we would have sucked again, but we would have been right there again, taking our lumps, but rebuilding for the future. Just saying, folks, this is why I'm not happy with the general manager of the Cardinals. They got Kyler Murray because they hired, I think, a really good a good coach. I like Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be great, but I think he belongs in the NFL. I believe Cliff Kingsbury is a NFL head coach, and I believe what he's doing is just fine and perfect for the NFL. I don't believe he's anything special and beyond. I think he's just fits in, and time will tell how great they can be and how much they can do it as a team effort with players around on that roster to win. But the knee jerk reaction to get Murray to fit his system, that's fine. But like I said over a year ago, there are quarterbacks now that are able to fit any system like a Cliff Kingsbury. They're all very comfortable in these systems that they're running right now in the NFL. There's nothing that different and dynamic other than an RPO. And we know about RPO quarterbacks. They get hit, and now you're flirting with injuries and long term doubt. And that can happen to any quarterback. So I'll put that out there, Cardinal fans. Would you trade up? From a year ago, you did it. Would you do it again? No, well, you didn't trade up a year ago. You traded Rosen to make sure you had your quarterback. But you did trade for Rosen a couple of years ago. So for the last 2 years, you've been dabbling with quarterbacks. But now this one looks really like the one that you want or you should have had or the one that you really wanted to get. If you did not hire Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray is not an Arizona Cardinal. I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. But I don't think the Cardinals will do it. I think but the fans. I don't think the fans would be that upset. They're going, holy crap. I mean, all right, but we're going to draft Burrow though. Like, all right. I mean, I think the fans would still be okay with it. I really do. It sounds crazy and wacky, and like for 3 years in a row, you're trying to find your guy. But you're like, but our guy was rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. You know how many guys who have had awards but never panned out? You're looking for Hall of Fame quarterback when you draft. That's the goal, right? For every position, you're looking for Hall of Famers, right? But at quarterback, you gotta find that guy. You really gotta find that guy. You want to find that, or you want to find a solid 10, 15-year quarterback. All right. There you have it. More news in the NFL, and then we'll wrap it up. I got comments coming in. Let me see your comments. We have Danny in the house, Glory in the house. We have Tom, Alfonso, Candy, Sweet Candy in the house, Wilson in the house, Diana, Robert Trevino, Denise Rebel in the house, Charles Bidwell III. Hey, Charles, do I sound crazy that trade up and go get Joe Burrow if you're the Cardinals, or is that just like too late? It's too late now. Like you made too many decisions, right? I think the Buccaneers have a better shot to trade up to go get Joe Burrow. If Burrow doesn't want to be a Bengal, if Burrow is forcing the Bengals to trade him or does end up doing that, I like the Buccaneers to try to find a way to get it right in there. Young team, get a young quarterback, boom. I think a lot of teams are going to try to trade it. But I also watch the Patriots if they cannot land their Tom Brady. Albert in the house. Nick Hanna in the house. Thank you guys for popping in. More NFL news, and then we're going to skid out of here. Greg Olson signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. He's allowed to sign because his veteran classifications allow him to sign prior to the free agency deadline. Adrian Peterson exercised the Redskins to bring him back, an option for 2020. He'll be back in Washington. Greg Robinson of the Browns, tackle, was arrested by Border Patrol for federal charges of possession of marijuana. Jason Witten, Cowboys, wants to return as a Cowboy. Joe Flacco confirms that he's healthy and ready to play in 2020 at the risk of his long-term health. Ryan Allen, punter of the Falcons, the expatriate, has re-signed with the Falcons. Shaq Barrett of the Buccaneers. Reports are that the Buccaneers will attempt to re-sign their stud free agent outside linebacker. It's good news. Looks like he's going to take a pay cut to remain a Buccaneer. Atlanta is going to keep their young kicker, Young Ho Koo, on a one-year deal of $660,000. Eric Bieniemy of the Chiefs is not going to leave for the college rankings head coaching job in Colorado. Unlikely, it says. Kareem Hunt has had a bad offseason already, but reports coming out, the restricted free agent expects to remain with the Browns. We'll see what happens with that. And there you have it. I think I have one more news, and then we're going to get out of here. Let me pop into the NFL side of it real quick, and then we'll say bye-bye for today. I appreciate your time. No big news popping out other than what I just reported. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm going to pop out one more news for you around baseball, and then we'll skedaddle out of here until tomorrow would be a Thursday for you. For baseball right now, news coming out for baseball, headline news for baseball right now. If you need it, if you want it, the Brewers are signing Brock Holt, finalizing a one-year deal. Okay, there's now rumors in Boston that they're also looking to trade for Will Myers. Boston looks like a team that wants to get rid of players that were part of the scandal in Boston. It looks like Boston's looking to dump salaries, dump players that are part of a scandal that they know they done wrong. They've been very active. I mean, Mookie Betts is gone. Now Brock Holt, gone. And now they're looking to trade for Will Myers, try to recoup some talent by getting rid of some talent on their team that was part of that 2018 championship team in Boston, managed by Cora, who was all part of the Houston Astros coaching staff in 2017. You tie it all in. But why are the Red Sox so active trying to trade and manipulate their roster? They're only a little over a year from their World Series. Makes you wonder. Makes you think. Don't you think? All right, guys. Other than that, minor injuries around Major League Baseball. We won't really get into them. We're going to wait it out. There's some really nice stories popping out around baseball, but nothing major with injuries itself. We're going to leave it right there. We'll come back tomorrow and Friday. We'll have more about baseball, more about football. I love you guys. I appreciate you popping in. Holly Larcy, hi, Holly. How you doing? All right. Thank you. Thank you for popping in, folks. I appreciate it. We are going to get out of here. We did our strong 1 hour show. I appreciate it right here on Hanna Time on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. We will be back Thursday. This is your Hump Day Wednesday. We'll talk to you on a Thirsty Thursday. Yes, you can listen anytime on Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. The live streaming that you're watching right now on Facebook and also on YouTube and Instagram. Until then, until tomorrow, this is Hanna Time on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. All right, YouTube guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.